The Weed of the Week is sponsored by the Enlist Weed Control System from Dow AgroSciences, a new herbicide and trait system that will build on glyphosate.
You work to protect your farm's legacy and to keep it going. Introducing the Enlist Weed Control System, an advanced herbicide and trait system that will build on glyphosate for exceptional control of tough weeds. The next chapter begins.
Our Weed of the Week is Hemp Sesbania.
Yeah, Darren, this is a member of the bean family, and the thing I like least about Hemp Sesbania is it can host soybean cyst nematode. So you rotate to corn and you figure, oh, I'm in good shape. I'm going to plant corn for 2 or 3 years. I'll go back to soybeans and most of the nematodes are gone. But if you don't do a great job controlling Hemp Sesbania, you're going to have just as many or more nematodes in the future.
Well, when you look at Hemp Sesbania, the thing that I look at is it has pinnately compound leaflets, meaning there's lots of little leaflets on each big branch. So it's not like you have a trifoliate like soybeans where you have just 3 leaves. You may have 20, you may have 40 or 50 on one particular leaf set. So with Hemp Sesbania, there's a lot of little leaves out there, so getting good coverage on those post-emerge sprays is very important.
Okay, when you talk about post-emerge, anytime we're discussing broadleaf weeds, and I think about something in the bean family, it's probably going to be pretty easy to control in grass crops like corn or wheat, and a lot more difficult to control in soybeans. So let's take that tough crop. How are we going to stop this thing in soybeans?
Well, with Valor, you can get about 70 or 80% control. So that's a good way to start. I would bump the Valor rate up a little bit. Instead of just using 2 ounces, I'd use 2.5. That's going to give you a little bit more control. I like the 3 ounce rate in the fall. In the spring, I think there's a little too much splash up when we get to 3. I think it's a little strong, so I'd stay at 2.5. Then post-emerge, I'd come back in with Basagran. I'd tank mix in some Cobra with that, or perhaps some Flex Star to give it a little extra kick. Otherwise, if you have STS soybeans, you can go with a little higher rate of Classic or Synchrony, and they can do a nice job for you as well.
Yeah, but you got to be careful with that carryover with Classic if you've got high pH soils. The other thing I guess I'd bring up, Roundup and Liberty crops. At least at this point, Hemp Sesbania is not resistant to Roundup, so Roundup's usually a good option.
Now in corn, we've got several options. You can start out with Verdict down. It gives you some residual control, plus it has a great burn down. Then I'd come back with Status, but I wouldn't use the Roundup Ready rate. I'd use the full rate of Status. Otherwise, you could switch to Callisto, Loudus, and Impact. There are also decent options.
Okay, how about in wheat?
Well, in wheat, I'd start out with Sharpen. It's a great burn down, plus a little bit of residual. Then I'd come back in crop with a high rate of Husky, or if you didn't want to use Husky, you could certainly use Addition Broadspec.
Well, that's it for our Weed of the Week, Hemp Sesbania, but stay tuned, Iron Talk is coming up next.